Have you ever noticed that some families never seem to panic when grocery prices suddenly go up? While everyone else is complaining about higher bills, searching multiple stores for everyday essentials, or wondering why their favorite products suddenly disappeared, these families continue shopping almost as if nothing has changed. They're not spending thousands of dollars on groceries. They're not clearing store shelves. And they aren't using some secret coupon system that nobody else knows about. So what's different? The answer isn't hidden inside a warehouse club membership. It's not about earning more money. And it certainly isn't about buying hundreds of pounds of emergency food. The real secret is surprisingly simple. They've learned to shop differently. Most Americans treat grocery shopping as a weekly task. They buy whatever they need for the next few days, head home, and repeat the process again next week. But experienced shoppers think much further ahead. Instead of asking, "What do I need today?" they ask, "What will I definitely need next month?" That one small change completely transforms the way they shop. Instead of constantly paying whatever today's price happens to be, they quietly build a pantry filled with foods they already know their family will eat. They buy during sales instead of emergencies. They replace products before they're completely gone. And over time, those small habits save hundreds of dollars while eliminating the stress of constantly chasing grocery deals. Today's countdown reveals 15 grocery secrets that many Americans don't discover until they've already spent far more than necessary. Let's begin with the first one. Secret number 15. Never wait until you're completely out. This might sound obvious, but it's one of the biggest mistakes shoppers make. Imagine opening the last bottle of cooking oil, or pouring the final scoop of coffee, or using the last box of pasta. Most people wait until that moment before adding the item to their shopping list. The problem is, now they have no choice. If the product isn't on sale, they pay full price. If it's temporarily out of stock, they drive to another store. If prices have increased, they're stuck paying more. Experienced shoppers avoid this situation entirely. Instead of waiting until something is gone, they replace it as soon as they open the last one. That simple habit gives them weeks to watch for discounts, compare prices, or buy during promotions instead of emergencies. Imagine opening your final jar of peanut butter today. Instead of waiting until it's empty, you quietly buy another one during your next shopping trip. Nothing changes in your daily routine, but you've just given yourself an entire month to avoid paying the highest possible price. It seems like a tiny difference. Over the course of a year, it can save a surprising amount of money. More importantly, it removes stress. You're no longer forced to buy groceries on the store's schedule. You buy them on yours. And speaking of buying groceries at the right time, the next secret may be the biggest difference between shoppers who constantly complain about grocery prices and those who seem to save money no matter what happens. Secret number 14. Buy during sales, not during emergencies. Think about the last time you absolutely needed a bag of coffee, or cooking oil, or rice, or pasta. Did you stop to compare prices? Probably not. When your pantry is empty, you're no longer shopping for value. You're shopping out of necessity. And grocery stores know that. Experienced shoppers avoid putting themselves in that position. Instead of buying products only when they're needed, they pay attention to recurring sales. Maybe pasta drops from $2 to 99 cents. Coffee is discounted by 30%. Cooking oil is offered as a weekly special. Instead of buying just one, they buy enough to last until the next good sale. Notice the difference. They're not panic buying. They're simply buying tomorrow's groceries at today's lower price. Over an entire year, those small decisions quietly add up to hundreds of dollars in savings. Now let's continue. Secret number 13. Build a pantry, not a stockpile. Many people hear the word pantry and immediately imagine shelves overflowing with food. That's not the goal. Experienced shoppers aren't trying to own a year's worth of groceries. They're simply building breathing room. Think about your pantry like a savings account. You don't wait until your bank balance reaches zero before adding more money. Your pantry works the same way. Keeping an extra bag of rice, another box of pasta, a spare bottle of cooking oil, or 2 additional cans of tomatoes isn't about preparing for disaster. It's about giving yourself flexibility. When prices rise, you already have what you need. When a product sells out, you're not forced into an emergency shopping trip. When your schedule becomes hectic, dinner is still waiting in the pantry. The secret isn't having more food. The secret is having enough to avoid rushing into expensive decisions. Now here's another habit that completely changes the way experienced shoppers think. Secret number 12. Every shopping trip starts with replacing, not buying. Most shoppers ask one question before entering the grocery store. What do I need? Experienced shoppers ask a different one. What did I use? That small shift changes everything. If they opened their last jar of peanut butter, they replace it. If they finished a bag of rice, they replace it. If they used several cans of vegetables, those cans go back onto the shopping list. They're constantly maintaining the pantry instead of rebuilding it from scratch every few weeks. This replacement mindset creates consistency. Nothing runs out unexpectedly. Nothing gets forgotten for months. And grocery shopping becomes much less stressful because the pantry always stays balanced. It's one of those habits that sounds almost too simple. Yet it's one of the biggest reasons experienced shoppers spend less over time. Now let's continue with another overlooked secret. Secret number 11. Empty pantry space costs money. This idea surprises many people. An empty shelf in your pantry doesn't seem like a problem. But experienced shoppers see it differently. Every empty space represents an opportunity that hasn't been used yet. Imagine your favorite coffee goes on sale for its lowest price of the year. You'd like to buy an extra bag. But your pantry is already cluttered with foods you rarely use. Or it's completely disorganized. You don't know what you already have. So you buy nothing. A month later, coffee is back to full price. That opportunity is gone. Smart shoppers organize their pantry so they can clearly see what they have, what they're using, and where there's room to add another item during a good sale. An organized pantry isn't just easier to look at. It becomes a money-saving tool. When you know exactly what's on your shelves, you avoid duplicate purchases, reduce food waste, and take advantage of discounts without buying products you'll never use. That's the real grocery secret. Organization isn't about appearance. It's about making better financial decisions every single week. And now we're entering the top 10. The remaining secrets are the habits that quietly save experienced shoppers the most money year after year. The next one, in particular, completely changes how people think about grocery prices, and once you understand it, you'll probably never shop the same way again. Secret number 10. Never shop without looking at next week's meals. One of the biggest grocery mistakes happens before people even leave the house. They don't know what they're cooking. So they wander through the store, picking up whatever looks good. A frozen meal here, a snack there, an extra drink they weren't planning to buy. By the time they reach the checkout, the cart is full, But somehow they still don't have enough ingredients to make complete meals. A few days later, they're back at the grocery store spending even more money. Experienced shoppers avoid this cycle completely. Before they ever walk through the front door, they already know what dinner looks like for the next several days. Maybe Monday is pasta. Tuesday is tacos. Wednesday is chicken and rice. Thursday is soup. Friday is homemade pizza. That simple plan changes everything. Instead of buying random groceries, they buy ingredients with a purpose. Nothing sits forgotten in the refrigerator. Food waste goes down. Emergency shopping trips become much less common. And grocery bills quietly shrink. The goal isn't to create a perfect meal plan. It's simply to know where your groceries are going before you buy them. Now here's another habit that almost nobody notices. Secret number 9. The cheapest grocery isn't always the best value. Most shoppers automatically reach for the lowest price. It feels like the obvious way to save money. But experienced shoppers ask a different question. How many meals will this actually make? Imagine 2 products. One costs $4. Another costs $7. At first glance, the cheaper one seems like the better deal. But what if the $4 product makes only 2 meals, while the $7 product makes 6? Suddenly the more expensive option actually costs less per meal. That's why smart shoppers think in terms of value instead of price. Rice, dry beans, rolled oats, pasta, flour. These foods often look ordinary, but they create dozens of meals for only a few dollars. That's real value. Not simply buying the cheapest thing on the shelf. Once you start calculating cost per meal instead of cost per package, grocery shopping begins to look completely different. Now let's continue. Secret number 8. Keep your pantry working for you. Most people think of their pantry as storage. Experienced shoppers think of it as a tool. Every item sitting on those shelves has a job. Rice becomes dinner. Coffee becomes tomorrow morning. Flour becomes homemade bread. Peanut butter becomes school lunches. Nothing is sitting there by accident. That's why they rarely buy foods, just in case. Instead, they build a pantry filled only with products their family already enjoys. If nobody eats canned spinach, they don't buy canned spinach. If everyone loves pasta, they make sure pasta is always available. This simple rule prevents wasted money. Every grocery purchase already has a future purpose. That's why experienced shoppers rarely throw food away. Almost everything they buy eventually gets used. Now let's move to one of the biggest financial mistakes shoppers make. Secret number 7. Don't let sales fool you. A sale isn't automatically a bargain. That's one of the hardest grocery lessons people learn. Stores know exactly how to attract attention. Bright signs, large discount labels, limited time offers. Buy one, get one free. But experienced shoppers ask one important question before putting anything into the cart. Would I buy this if it weren't on sale? If the answer is no, they keep walking. Buying something you'll never use isn't saving money. It's simply spending less on something unnecessary. The best grocery deals are always the foods your family already buys every week. Rice, eggs, coffee, cooking oil, pasta, peanut butter. Those are the products worth purchasing during promotions because you already know they'll be used. Everything else can usually stay on the shelf. That simple mindset prevents hundreds of dollars in impulse purchases over the course of a year. We've now reached the top 6. The remaining grocery secrets are the ones experienced shoppers almost never talk about, but they're also the habits that save the most money over time. The next secret, in particular, completely changes the way people think about grocery prices, and once you understand it, you'll probably never walk through a supermarket the same way again. Secret number 6. Buy the food you'll eat next month, not just this week. Most shoppers only think 7 days ahead. Experienced shoppers think 30 days ahead. That doesn't mean they fill their garage with groceries. It simply means they understand one important truth. The food your family eats next month is probably the same food you're eating today. If your family eats pasta every week, you'll probably eat pasta next month. If everyone drinks coffee every morning, that won't suddenly change next week. If rice is part of your dinners now, it will likely still be part of your dinners later. That's why experienced shoppers quietly buy tomorrow's groceries while today's prices are still available. When pasta goes on sale, they buy enough for several weeks. When coffee reaches one of its lowest prices, they grab another bag. When canned vegetables are discounted, they replenish the pantry. They're simply buying food they already know they'll use. Nothing sits unused. Nothing gets wasted. And they avoid paying full price later. Now let's move to another habit that's surprisingly simple. Secret number 5. Never ignore seasonal sales. Every grocery store follows patterns. Experienced shoppers know them. Holiday baking season often brings discounts on flour, sugar, and baking supplies. Summer grilling season usually features promotions on sauces, condiments, and charcoal. Back-to-school season often includes lunchbox favorites. The weeks before Thanksgiving frequently offer excellent prices on canned vegetables and pantry staples. Most shoppers notice these sales, but they only buy enough for that week. Experienced shoppers think differently. If they know they'll eventually use another bottle of cooking oil, another bag of rice, or another box of pasta, they buy it while prices are lower. Not because they expect shortages, because they understand grocery pricing follows predictable cycles. Timing matters. Sometimes waiting just a few weeks can cost significantly more. Now here's another secret that saves more money than most people realize. Secret number 4. Shop your pantry before you shop the store. This may be the most overlooked grocery habit on today's list. Before experienced shoppers ever grab their car keys, they open the pantry. They check the refrigerator. They look inside the freezer. Why? Because many families already own the ingredients for several complete meals, they just don't realize it. Maybe there's pasta on one shelf, a jar of sauce in the cabinet, frozen vegetables in the freezer, and shredded cheese in the refrigerator. That's dinner. No grocery trip required. The same thing happens with rice, beans, soup, canned tuna, oatmeal, and countless other pantry staples. Shopping your own kitchen first prevents duplicate purchases, reduces food waste, and often delays another expensive grocery trip by several days. It's a habit that costs nothing, yet saves money almost every single week. We've now reached the top 3. These final grocery secrets are the ones experienced shoppers rely on year after year. They're simple. They're practical. And once you understand them, you'll never look at grocery shopping the same way again. The number 1 secret isn't about coupons, warehouse memberships, or finding hidden discounts. It's a mindset that quietly saves families hundreds of dollars without changing what they eat. Secret number 3. Stop chasing prices. Start watching patterns. Most shoppers react. Experienced shoppers observe. When grocery prices suddenly increase, many people immediately ask, "Why is everything getting so expensive?" But experienced shoppers ask a different question. What usually happens next? They understand that grocery prices move in patterns. Coffee becomes cheaper after a large harvest. Egg prices often fall after supply improves. Pasta goes on sale every few weeks. Canned vegetables rotate through promotions. Cooking oil rises, then stabilizes. Instead of reacting emotionally every time prices move, experienced shoppers simply pay attention. Over time, they begin recognizing which products regularly go on sale, which foods rarely receive discounts, and which grocery items are worth buying a little earlier. That's why they rarely feel surprised. They're not predicting the future. They're learning the rhythm of the grocery store. And once you begin noticing those patterns, shopping becomes much less stressful. Now let's continue. Secret number 2. Your freezer is one of the best money-saving tools you own. When most people think about saving money on groceries, they think about coupons. Experienced shoppers think about freezer space. Your freezer isn't just for frozen pizza or ice cream. It's an extension of your pantry. Fresh meat bought during sales. Bread before it becomes stale. Cheese. Butter. Vegetables. Even cooked leftovers. The freezer allows families to buy at today's lower prices while using those foods weeks later. Imagine chicken reaches its lowest price in months. Instead of buying only enough for dinner tonight, experienced shoppers buy enough for several future meals. The same principle works for bread. Instead of throwing away half a loaf because it became stale, they freeze it. Less waste. Fewer grocery trips. More savings. The freezer quietly turns temporary grocery discounts into long-term savings. And finally, we've reached the grocery secret that most Americans don't discover until they've already spent years paying more than necessary. Secret number 1. Grocery shopping is won before you enter the store. This is the biggest secret of all. Most people believe grocery shopping starts when they grab a cart. Experienced shoppers know it starts much earlier. It starts at home. With a pantry check. A quick look at the refrigerator. A simple meal plan. A shopping list. And a decision to buy only what has a purpose. Once they enter the store, almost every decision has already been made. That means fewer impulse purchases. Less wandering through every aisle. Less temptation. And fewer expensive surprises at the checkout. It's such a simple habit. Yet it's the foundation of every other grocery secret we've talked about today. Because once you know exactly what your family needs, you stop shopping emotionally. You stop buying duplicates. You stop forgetting what's already sitting in your pantry. And over months, those small decisions quietly save hundreds of dollars. Not because you're buying less food, but because you're buying the right food at the right time. That's the grocery secret most Americans learn too late. If today's countdown proves anything, it's this: saving money on groceries has very little to do with luck. It has very little to do with finding one incredible coupon. And it certainly isn't about panic buying. It's about building better habits. Replace foods before you run out. Buy during sales instead of emergencies. Plan meals before shopping. Use your freezer wisely. Keep an organized pantry. And remember that the groceries your family eats next month are probably the same groceries you're eating today. Small habits repeated week after week create enormous savings over time. That's why experienced shoppers rarely seem surprised by rising grocery prices. They're prepared, not because they spend more, but because they think ahead. Now we'd love to hear from you. What's the best grocery saving habit you've ever learned? Share it in the comments below. You might help someone else save money too. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more grocery shopping tips, pantry strategies, food price updates, and money-saving guides every week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.